I always thought my hair made me different. Thick, long, wavy. It gave me character, presence, even pride. Every morning, I'd sit cross-legged before the mirror, oil my scalp, and slowly comb through the strands. The sensation, it was more than habit. It was comfort, control, pleasure. That morning was no different. Warm coconut oil, wooden comb, the smell of sandalwood from the soap I used. My father's voice echoed faintly in my mind, calling my hair my artist crown. Then came the gunshot. I froze mid-stroke, comb still in hand. The calm shattered. I ran. By the time I reached the orchard, my father was lying in a pool of blood, his eyes wide open, my revolver beside him. By evening, I was being hunted. My hair, once a source of pride, felt like a burden now, too familiar, too identifying, too soft for the cruelty of this world. That night, I wrapped in the scarf. But deep inside, I knew this crown would have to fall. I hid for 2 days, long enough to feel the weight of my hair turn from comfort to curse. It clung to me, sticky, matted, familiar, a reminder of everything I used to be. Every time I ran my hand through it, I felt guilt instead of pride. On the third morning, I found myself in a dim barber shack by the railway tracks. Old wooden chair, cracked mirror, a rusted blade that hadn't sung in years. The barber, silent, weathered, looked at me, then at my hair. He didn't ask questions, only nodded. I untied my scarf. My long, oiled hair tumbled down, still scented faintly with coconut and loss. He paused, almost respectfully, then dipped his razor in water. "Take all of it," I said. My voice broke. He parted the hair one last time with his fingers, combing gently through the length. That touch, a stranger's, made my heart ache more than the death, more than the accusation. It was a final goodbye to who I was. Then came the first stroke, cold metal, skin exposed, a slow path drawn across my crown. I shivered. Thick tufts fell to the ground in silence. My scalp twitched with each pass. I felt naked, raw, free, empty. When he finished, I stared at the mirror. A stranger stared back, bald, hollow-eyed, but alive. I wasn't Arjun anymore. Not the man with the artist's crown. Just a shadow, smooth, exposed. Every breeze, suddenly sharp and intimate. I couldn't stop touching it. Fingers grazing the stubble, tracing the curves of skull I had never known. Each time I ran my palm over it, a thrill mixed with discomfort surged through me. The hair was gone, but something new had awakened. No more hiding behind locks. No more crown. Just bare skin and raw truth. I left the barber's shack at dawn. The air was cool, and the wind stung against my newly shaved head like a warning. I wrapped my scarf back, not to hide, but a shield. I was still being hunted. At the train yard, I boarded a freight wagon heading east. Dirt clung to me. Silence followed me. The world had grown quiet. Like it, too, was mourning my past life. That night, inside the cargo hold, I dreamed of water, of someone washing my hair, of thick strands slipping between fingers, dripping coconut oil. But in the dream, I was watching, not feeling. My reflection stared back at me, bald, expressionless, unreachable. I woke up sweating. Was I becoming someone else, or returning to who I truly was? The escape wasn't just from the police. It was from a version of me that still clung to vanity, pride, and memory. I hadn't spoken to anyone in 4 days. Silence wasn't just around me. It lived in me now. The buzz of clippers still echoed in my memory, like a dull hum beneath my skin. I'd trace the edges of my scalp every time I woke, half expecting hair to be there again. But all I felt was skin, a ghost of who I used to be. My reflection haunted me, not in glass, but in puddles, spoons, train windows. A stranger with my eyes, but none of my softness. Then came the news. At a small tea stall, while sipping watery chai with a scarf low over my forehead, I heard 2 men whispering. The one they're chasing, they say he's changed completely. Shaved head, hiding in plain sight. My stomach twisted. They were close. I moved again, this time to a dusty town near the border. I found work in a scrapyard, cleaning rusted iron and melting in the sun. Sweat poured from my scalp. The heat touched skin that had never known exposure. I felt raw and real, but I wasn't alone. One night, in the warped metal of an oil drum, I saw it, not my face, but his, the man I'd once been. Hair thick, eyes soft, untouched by guilt. He was watching me. Was he mocking me or begging to return? I raised my hand to reflection, bald, sharper, unforgiving. The hunter wasn't the police anymore. It was me. I arrived back at the orchard just before dawn. A year had passed. My scalp now bore the rough fuzz of regrowth, uneven, untamed. I hadn't looked in a proper mirror since that night. I didn't need to. Every scar on my soul had already carved itself into the way I stood, the way I breathed. The place was abandoned. The soil, once tended by my father's hands, now lay cracked and dry. The neem tree we used to sit beneath was dying. But I had come back, not to reclaim anything, to confess, not to the police, but to myself, because I knew now I hadn't pulled the trigger. The gun went off in a struggle. My father tried to take it from me. In my panic, I fought back. That moment, a blur of rage, tears, and sweat, had rewritten my entire identity. I stood in front of the old house's broken mirror. It had once reflected a boy with pride in his hair, softness in his voice, and hope in his heart. Now it showed a man, hair ragged, beard uneven, scalp marked with sun and memory. A man shaped by silence, shadows, and steel. I took the scissors out of my bag. No more hiding. No more pretending. I began cutting again, this time not to run from who I was, but to shape who I'd become. Slow snips echoed in the empty room. I trimmed the overgrown tufts, took the razor out. Each stroke across my scalp, this time, wasn't punishment. It was ritual, a farewell, to guilt, to the frightened boy who ran. When I stepped outside, the morning sun hit my clean-shaven head. I didn't flinch. Somewhere inside me, the hunter and the hunted had finally merged. And for the first time in a year, I smiled.